To all the folks out there in the Dagban area, Tamale, Kaula, Dasiba, Tumabiaula. Great. Now, over the weekend, I had the pleasure of going to see my paramount chief, the paramount chief of the Bogu traditional area, Bouna Salifu II. And we had a very extensive conversation. And the conversations were about how to develop the area. And I went with Roland Walker. We're together in a full entourage. Went to see the good stuff that the chief was doing there in this place, even though it's very, very far. The health facility, we're talking about the schools, we're talking about some other infrastructural developments that he had brought to the area. We're talking about NHIS registration for some of the folks out there. In fact, everybody in all the 37 communities under his watch. And I couldn't help but admire. And as Osemlena of the Bogu traditional area, I thought that it's important that I let the world know what it is that is happening there. So big applause to His Royal Highness, the Paramount Chief of the Bogu traditional area, Bouna Salifu II. Chief, long may you live, and we'll work together. Now, over the weekend also, something caught my attention, something that had been saying over and over and over and over again. The fact that the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Lawyer Justin Kudia Frimpong, is not happy with some appointees after he had done some tours, and he came out on his own, not under compulsion, but to post on Facebook that some appointees were not and have lost touch with the people. Some people say it is the people who have lost touch with the appointees. Whether it is the appointees who have lost touch with the people or the people who have lost touch with the appointees, there is a touch that has been lost. Put up the post, let's see it, what the General Secretary of the NPP had to say. And these are issues that I had spoken about more than 2 years ago, because Johnnie's Bite is more than 2 years. These are things that I had spoken about more than 2 years ago. What he put up there says that original tour update. Feedback from my tour of the Bono region shows that some appointees have lost touch with their base. Don't force me to start mentioning names. Do the needful. Feedback from my tour of the Bono region shows that some appointees have lost touch with their base. Don't force me to start mentioning names. Do the needful. Mr. General Secretary, I think you should have mentioned the names. But first of all, let me say that more than 2 years ago when I said it, they say, oh, I don't say anything nice about the NPP. I don't like the NPP. So now that the leader of the party is saying it, does he also not like the NPP? Is he not saying anything nice about the NPP? Does he hate the NPP? These are the things that we do to ourselves. And for me, I'm interested in, ordinarily, I wouldn't be interested in NDC and MPP. I wouldn't be interested in the political class. But it is the political class that will rule us. It is the political class that will help us to maintain the democracy that we have. It is the political class that will help us to get the social contract delivered properly to us. And so if you find that we are perfecting a system where we find the best square plugs and put them in and force them into round holes, we must speak about it. I remember like yesterday how a government handing over to itself in 2021 had to wait for 9 solid months, contrary to the provisions in Act 936, the Local Governance Act. Contrary to the provision of the 1992 Constitution, Article 2431 of the Constitution. We had to wait for 9 solid months for a government handing over to itself to decide on who becomes MCE or DCE. And what were we told? That the Venerable Danboche's committee was actually vetting people. So while we left that lacuna and assemblies couldn't take major decisions and everything had come to a standstill, because the assemblies were headless, people were being vetted. The last one was held at the Jubilee House. They went through 3 layers of vetting. And what do we get? some of the people we have gotten are actually a disappointment, because I remember very well, the report is still there, it's online, it's a public document. That Damboche committee that did the vetting recommended certain people. In fact, the numbers were numerous. They trimmed it down, and then they said, oh, these three, these two, these. So, but this one is the person because he works with the triangle. He works with the party, he works with the government, and he works with the people. They called it the tripartite. That's what they called it themselves, a triangle. Some of the people who were recommended by the Damboche committee were ignored. In Greater Accra region, Nia Jesoa was recommended. He was ignored. We put Lisbeth Kwachosaki. The question is, if we decided to wait for 9 months and wasted everybody's time and broke every provision in the law, Justice Kuria Fripo is a lawyer, Nanado is a lawyer, Bidietu is a lawyer. There are too many lawyers in the MPP. And we broke the law with impunity, without apology. Today, the sentiments that were raised at that committee and vetting is now materializing, where the people on the ground have lost touch with the people, because also we said we were going to let the people vote for their own MMDCEs. We continue to appoint them. They don't feel answerable to the people. They feel answerable to the president. Once the presidency is happy with them, they are okay. So it is true. Those on the ground, they have lost touch with the people. The snobbish attitude. Look at what Titus Glover is doing, trying to galvanize and bring everybody together. Trying to have a certain sense of unanimity. No. He's trying to bring everybody together. A certain sense of unanimity. Go and check how many regional ministers do that. The regional minister in the Ashanti region is busy talking with his left hand, throwing it at school feeding caterers and ECG people and asking them to be arrested for doing their legitimate job, like a modern day pharaoh, talking down at people standing on top. Meanwhile, I remember very well at his outdooring, he was called the big elephant in the room, that he knows how to communicate and he knows how to work with the structures. So as for the losing touch with the base, it is widespread though. Maybe it's too late now, Mr. Kuria Fripo, that you are recognizing it now. More than 2 years ago, and I have tapes. I used to say, they used to attack me, that I said the same thing you are saying today on your Facebook page. They said I hated the MPP, I hated the government for saying the same thing you are saying. You are even saying that if you are forced, you mention names. I didn't say I'll mention names. I didn't say that. So now you think again, as a party, think again. Who hates you and who likes you? Think about it again. Take me to Korle-Bu. Now, I told you last week, find me the video first. That there's a video, Korle-Bu video. I told somebody in this house, 2 people in this house, that these Korle-Bu staff who have gone to the media, who are speaking nothing but the truth, who are telling us about the true state of activities at Korle-Bu, the system will be used to frustrate them. Because in Ghana, if it's not a system, it is a law. If it's not a law, it is guidelines. If it's not guidelines, it's policy. If it's not policy, it's something. They will try and put you in a certain corner. That's what we do here. We perfect that act. Play the video for me.
We are struggling. The hospital is struggling. I can tell you that in Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital, we have, and I am a radiographer, okay, and I'm in the head of MRI in Korle-Bu. Now, we have a CT scanner, a 640 slice CT scanner. There are 3 in Africa, and Ghana has 1. This machine in Korle-Bu has been down over 5 years.
5 years?
Over 5 years.
The MRI scanner?
The CT scanner. The CT scanner we have currently in Korle-Bu does not belong to Korle-Bu. It's for a private individual. It's a PPP that is in Korle-Bu that we are using. Korle-Bu does not have its own CT scan.
And yours broke down 5 years ago?
5 years ago. So the question is, who is really interested? I mean, as for MRI, I'm sure people have been hearing how often MRI goes down and patients have to be going out. You know, we have to be transporting patients. the cost of ambulance to get patients to the various other places, the inconvenience. Our roads are so bad. So a patient is in ICU, needs a scan because our machines and all are not being catered to properly. They have to be carried all the way to a particular place and brought back. You can imagine what our patients are going.
What did management tell you about that machine that has broken down for 5 years?
Because we don't have a voice there. It is a difficulty. I can tell you that at one meeting, the director of medical affairs came to hear from me, and I've never been, to any of the meetings. So that the MRI, for instance, which people had informed him to be scrapped, didn't need to be scrapped. I mean, and when I spoke about it, he got to understand that he'd not been getting that information.
3FM.
Okay, he'd not been getting, but other people are speaking on an issue that I am on top of.
So you see the weight of the problem that they have at Korle-Bu. Spoke about bad roads, spoke about ambulances, and mind you, the ambulances would demand for you to pay for fuel before they transport your patient or your relative. Ambulance service, they still take fuel from people. They don't care whether you are dying or you are struggling to live or whatever it is. They'll collect the money. It happens all across the country. And yet we pay money for the ambulances to be maintained. We saw the ambulance repair contract, right? But we will still have to pay money for it. It's a shame. The boss, he said his boss said that he didn't have the kind of information that he had walked to his office to receive. But I'm sure that there's a certain chain, a certain system, the same system that is breathing down there. There's a system, useless system, that is supposed to have known and heard and known all these things. How can a tertiary hospital like Korle-Bu, which is not a boutique, a kinky boutique, which is not a farm, which is not a garden, which is not a market, but a place where people's lives are supposed to be saved and preserved, how can you have machines not running for 5 solid years and the things that are there are rented property and you are comfortable sitting down as a board and as a management and they are not thinking about solving the issues that the gentleman is raising because people's lives are being lost? The first thing that comes, put the query letter. Let's query them for going to speak to the media. And the gentleman said they don't have a voice. He decided to be the voice and he is now in difficulty. This is 9th of August 2024. I predicted this last week. I told you it was going to happen and it is happening shamelessly. Dr. Francis Kwachienchi, Principal Biomedical Scientist, Central Laboratory, staff ID is there. Dr. Francis, now let's read. Query. Management's attention has been drawn to your recent interview on Joy News Prime TV on Monday, the 5th of August 2024. During the interview, you alleged that some doctors at Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital only accept laboratory results from outside facilities. Let's go up. Facilities rather than the hospital's central laboratory. I can't find anything on the screen. Oh. He's been queried and he's been given a timeline to respond to the query. The fact that the CCTV scanner is broken down is on. Let's go back. Your actions of engaging the, listen to it. Your actions of engaging the media to discuss issues of Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital without recourse to internal processes run contrary to the hospital's media engagement and the code of conduct and disciplinary proceedings. You are required to respond to the undersigned by close of day on Monday, 12th of August 2024. While disciplinary action should not be taken against you, kindly treat this as urgent. Signed by Mr. Yehuza Jaula, Director Human Resource. And I hear that the unions are getting together to protest this that has been written to him. They are not interested in the lives that will be lost to your relatives who are dying at Korle-Bu because they don't have CT and MRI and whatever it is. They don't care about that. They don't care about the fact that you yourself defending them today on social media with your 2 CDs data, you yourself, you could die. They don't care about it. What they care about is that somebody had waited for 5 years for a situation that his immediate boss did not even know about. Yet the thing was happening right under their noses. They don't care about it. Only thing they care about is that, you have gone to speak to the media. Tell us why we should not punish you. These are the people leading us. I didn't write that. These are the people leading us. The good people taking salaries and board allowances leading us. In any serious country, the board and management would have said, we are sorry, we have underperformed, we are going away. But no, they will use official power and muscle to try and push you down. That's what we do in this country. The things that the gentleman said on the TV, which one of it is wrong? And I played this last week. Credit to Joy News. I played it again this week. Last week when I played it, you can imagine the number of calls we had even at the back end here. What a shameful country we live in. Look, read this one. This is a news release. Dialysis center to resume full operations next week. And you remember the last time the dialysis center was closed down, we had to pay for people to go through the tests, right? When Korle-Bu started charging unapproved fees from 380 to 600 and something. It was us who got Parliament to get involved for the things, for the price to be reversed. The illegal fees that were being charged. Here at Johnnie's Buy, we started it. That's a scorecard. Nawoni Anam Zoya. It was us who got it. And based on that, the government thought it wise that they were going to subsidize renal unit. The fees there. Even that has become a problem. Now the place has been shut down again. We are pleased to announce that the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital has secured a significant quantity of essential consumables for dialysis, which is currently being processed for delivery to the Korle-Bu from the Tema port. The Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ghana Supply Company are providing vital support to expedite this clearance on an emergency basis to ensure that we continue to deliver top-notch care to our valued clients. Now, how did this situation come to be? This situation came to be when I read to you what the unions, 6 unions, including senior staff, pharmaceuticals, pharmacists, they said when the CEO goes on leave, if today he decides that he's not going to work, nothing gets signed at Korle-Bu, no check, nothing. So the consumables that the people need will not be there. And it is one of the reasons the place was shut down. They don't care about the lives that you have. They only care about code of ethics and wine. In same hunu throughout. In same hunu throughout. People are dying. You are talking about code of conduct. In same hunu throughout. In same hunu throughout. When you finish querying him and when you finish applying the code of conduct, will he bring the CT machine? Will he bring the CT scan machine? Will he bring the MRI machine? Will he fix your oxygen plant? Will he fix your dilapidated hospital? Will he fix it? And there's supposed to be a management and a board. So the outpatient section of our dialysis center will return to full operations early next week. So it means that last week it was closed. This week is part of early next week. It has not been open. Korle-Bu. I don't even want to finish reading the thing. People will die, and those who can't afford to go to the private entities will die because of this. Some will have complications because of this. That is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the post, though. I'm talking about the work. What wrong did the man do by telling us that, look, for the past 5 years, our machines have not functioned. For the past 5 years, people have come here and have died because of that. For the past 5 years, people are using their private machines here and we are renting it and we are not even ashamed. When Sir Gordon Gurgisberg in 1923 set up Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital with the colonial government, they envisaged better. Because they wanted to bring the same quality that they were enjoying overseas here because they were working here. Today, Korle-Bu is more like a graveyard. Our own Korle-Bu. And when I started the series on Korle-Bu, I had to pause because every day this lift is broken down. Then you see people who are literally weak and paralyzed, and they have to be carried up to the 4th floor, 3rd floor, and people have to pay for it. And that's it. What kind of inhumane treatment is that? And the management and board, they know this. They are very much aware. But they don't care about those ones. What they care about is that if you go and speak to the media and speak truth, you'll be dealt with. They know. Because when they are ill, they can pick their passports, get on a plane, and fly out and go and get medical care elsewhere. So they don't care about you. But you are the one who have elected yourself to be defending all the rubbish. Oh no, yeah. They win. We are in it together. Oh. When we say we are in it together, it is you and I. Because I can't afford medical expenses outside. I'll go to Korle-Bu. Can you afford it? Will you go to Korle-Bu too? Then wake up and speak about Korle-Bu. What's happening there? Now, find me KK this video. Last week, we hosted King Kwesi Chedakwa. He spoke about something. Today is International Youth Day. Listen to what he said.
Why can we live in a country where if some young man who is doing a small hustle and doing his bet has the police find just 1 million Ghana cedis in his house, he may be arrested and questioned where he found it. But a public servant who claims they have desilted the Odo Lagoon has all this money in their home. Whether they killed people to get that money, whether they did blood rituals to get that money, whether they stole that money from government, whether they took that money as bribes, or whether they have a cloth manufacturing business that gives them that money, or whether they have a brother who was a shoemaker who made the greatest shoes in all of Africa, so he earned all that money and gave it to them. Nobody is able to question them about it or prosecute them about it. We are a nation of stupid.
The president thinks that
we are a nation of stupid. No, like I said, when we elevate you into a position of authority, you do not have dominion over truth. Truth is the ultimate power. Are you truthful?
This concept of minister of state at the presidency, minister with that portfolio,
it's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's jobs for the boys, and that I stated this with clarity over 2 years ago, before I got my badge of honor when GBC said they had banned me from speaking. The company that we made into something that people listen to and watch says it bans me for speaking the truth about a thief in government. People who said but once they get into government, they decide, let's borrow and borrow and borrow. And then one day I decide, I'm busy doing my research for my PhD, but I'm just going to look at all these documents, this thick. And then I find, it is because for every $100 million we borrow, the Minister of Finance makes $9.8 million. And Ghanaians are not outraged. Ghanaian boys and girls, young men and women are not outraged. And whenever you raise it, your friends in the MPP keep quiet. And I told them, if 100 policemen know full well that they are all very honest, but 4 of them are criminals, aiding people to kill people in the Kaswa area every day, and they are silent about it, then all the 100 policemen are criminals. So, I have good friends in the MPP who I believe to be honest. Some of them rose up and said, Oforiatta must go.
That's right.
And immediately they were silenced. And some of them have had people campaign against them, so they have lost their seats. Because in Ghana, the campaign is about how much money you can spend. It is a fact.
That's right.
Professor Jampo has spoken about that too. We have monetized our elections because some people are so poor, they will sell their teeth if they have to and drink only cocoa. And those are the people who will take a t-shirt and a can of sardines or a chamber pot and vote for you. But my advice to you people is, if you are honest, don't take the money of the corrupt. But even if you would take the money of the corrupt, pray over it, and still don't do the will of the corrupt.
We hosted KKD last week, and I'm sure as young people you have listened and heard. I want you to think about it. It's on our social media pages. You can go and replay and listen to it again. Reflect upon it carefully. Carefully reflect upon it. And tomorrow, I will also share another video with you of a man who many believed would cause a change, got into government, deputy minister, minister, and minister again, and he's now telling us what we had been saying many years ago when we started in 2017. And now he's saying the same thing. A question that comes is, what is the motive? Why now? Why didn't he say that before? Why didn't he call his own people to order? What is he trying to do? Is he trying to galvanize the gains that have been made so that, Hayes is not derailed? Tomorrow, I will play that for you. Good morning.